everybody. Welcome. I'm Coach Les, and I'm here with Mr. Yarwood from Yarwood's Martial Arts, and it's Mat Chat time. And we are here today. We're going to be talking about confidence in martial arts, which is cultivated through various practices and principles designed to both build you physically and to build you mentally, to give you strength. Because, all of that is practice. Some of you may go, wow, how do I mentally practice in my mind? Well, that's what studying is all about. So here's how martial arts is going to teach confidence. We're going to get started with Mr. Yarwood, and then I'll pop in and out of the conversation. Over to you, Mr. Yarwood.
So at our school, we teach 9 life skills that kind of encompass pretty much everything our students are going to run into in real life, and how they're going to deal with those situations and those things that they're going to be part of. And confidence is one of them. Confidence is, it kind of intertwines with everything that we do, because to have confidence to do things is important, because if you don't have confidence in whatever it is you're doing, you're not going to want to do stuff. You're going to find it as a barrier, right? You're going to be worried about all kinds of different things. So we intertwine confidence into all of our training. And one of the first things that they have to do with confidence, and this isn't on my list, Coach Les is the first one I thought of, is that the confidence just to get on the mats in the first place.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's intimidating. You come into our school and there's all these people who are in their uniforms, and you feel like there's all looking at you suddenly because you just walked in the door, right? That's a huge confidence piece right there. I mean, if you can build that up enough, I can use that and take that and nourish it and create even more confidence in you. Just getting you on the mats in the first place is a huge step, right? And we talk to them a lot about that, because not everybody takes that step. A lot of people don't have the confidence to do the things that you're getting ready to do. It's not an easy thing. It takes a lot of work, a lot of discipline, a lot of fortitude, a lot of confidence to get out on those mats and learn something new, like martial arts. So it's a big deal to us that they're coming on the mats in the first place, and we'd really like to let them know that, hey, you're making an awesome decision right now, and you're showing great confidence in just coming in on the mats and trying this out. So the first one on our list is called progression and the mastery of skills. So and from day one, they're learning new techniques. They're learning kicking, striking, blocking, stances, all kinds of new stuff that they've never done before. A lot of people think they know how to do some of these things because they've seen it in a movie somewhere, right? The first thing we do is ask somebody to show us a kick, right? And more often than not, it's not the kick we're looking for. Believe it or not. Most people think of like a punting move or a soccer kick, right? And what we do is not that. So we watch that, and then we kind of take it from there and kind of help them to learn how to actually do these techniques. And as they start to learn the different parts of the technique, they get more confident in that technique, and then they start to show it even better. And the more confident they get in it, the more relaxed they get with it, the more they get practice with it, the better they're going to be at it. So it just kind of rolls on itself, right? The more they train, the more they practice, the better they get, the more confident they get. The more they do, the more they practice, the more they get, the more confident they get, and it just kind of grows from there. When you're learning something that's as challenging as even just a front kick for us, well, it might seem simple, it's not, right? It takes a lot of work to get it efficient and proficient in doing a front kick. So building that confidence up is a huge piece for them to learn these new techniques and to start to master them.
Yeah, here's the thing about it too, is along with mastery in these martial arts experience, you have your own life skills, school skills, other sports skills, that as you learn this mastery over here, it falls into the rest of your life. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, you can't, it's almost impossible to not learn something over here and have it impact other areas of your life. So those are the hidden benefits and the things that make a big difference. And that we say is at least for me, is almost a bigger reason to do martial arts than coming and getting belts and going through tournaments and exercise and all of that. It's the surrounding principles. Much like networking, it's not about the person in front of you to network with. It's stepping into their web of network, because that's where the growth is. Yeah. So same thing. All these principles, these life principles, exist in everything. And here we are talking about the life principles that make a difference in martial arts. Back to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Like I said, confidence is everywhere, right? Everything that we do, however we train everything. I mean, we talk about most people understand how, at least have an idea that, karate or taekwondo or whatever has a belt system, right? A ranking system, a color belt system into the black belts. And we use that, not necessarily it's a tracking system per se, like it shows us where they are in their journey toward black belt, but it also works to build confidence in their progress and how they're doing. It's kind of the same thing with learning a new move. Every testing that we do, there's a certain number of elements that they need to work on, and they're going to need to show their judges in order for them to pass that test and move on to that next rank. And if they're learning these new things, just like learning the front kick, learning a new form is a challenge, right? They have to memorize it. Then once they memorize it, then we work on the technique that goes into that form. And once we work on the technique, then we work on, it just continues to go. And as they get better at it, if they memorize it, that's the basic, the basic thing they need to do is memorize it. Now they're confident in that form. Once they're confident in it, then we can work on the technique that makes it that much better. And then they start to see, hey, my moves are getting a lot better now. And then they get more confident. They might want to show everybody, then you go to a tournament and you use it to compete, right? And then you take first place, and now you have confidence to go to a bigger. It just keeps growing, right? So when you're doing the training on your form to test for your next rank, from day one to testing day, that confidence is growing along the way. So when you get in front of those judges, you're ready. You're confident that you're going to pass your test, that you're not going to have any issues, and you're going to get everything done that you need to get done. And you get that new rank, all of a sudden you're like, oh, let's go, right? And it just builds and builds and builds and builds. So the further they go in the ranking, the more confidence they build in themselves that they're going to be that next rank, and they're going to earn that black belt when it comes time.
Well, and I think the other thing about that too is, we hear all the time, practice makes perfect. Right? So whatever it is you're doing, whether you're brushing your teeth, whether you're, cutting a piece of fruit in the kitchen, whether you're driving a car, mowing the yard, all of these things, we have an opportunity to master that. And so I think it's a great conversation to have.
Yeah, a lot of our students, one of their biggest issues, I guess, for lack of a better term, is they lack confidence in themselves. If they're in school and they're kind of maybe socially awkward, or they don't make friends very well, or they're scared or whatever, they don't have confidence, right? And we have a lot of students that they came to us, they were shy about getting on the mats. They were shy about all these things. And they slowly found that when they tried something and worked at it and achieved it, they felt better about themselves. They take that with them to school, that confidence. They stand a little bit taller. They're more apt to engage in conversation with other kids in their school. Maybe they're being bullied. They feel more confident in themselves to stand up to that person that's bullying them, to stand up for a friend who's being bullied, to sit in the front of the class and learn versus sitting in the back and hiding. I mean, there's so many aspects of it that come just from building that confidence on our mats. They take it everywhere else with them, and it's a huge part of what we do to help them to feel so much better about themselves. And when they do that, their achievements explode because they love to try new things now and challenge themselves because they have confidence that they're gonna achieve what it is that they set their mind to.
I think the thing that I look at with that is owning who you are as well, right? Whether you become an expert, whether you are 100% successful, the ability to become comfortable and happy with who you are and where you're at, that's another thing. And to have a coach, i.e. you as an instructor, or Mr. James or Mr. Vidine or whoever it is, to have that person standing there and voting for you to be empowered, to be greater and better than you are, even if you may not be the top in the class or something like that, to have that vote of confidence to own who you are is awesome.
Oh, definitely. And it's one of those ones you can almost see it on a regular basis growing in them, right? It's not like it doesn't take years to build this confidence. I mean, it can happen within a matter of classes, from one class to the next. You know, they get done with that first class and they're just so excited and so pumped about all the stuff they learned and get to learn, and friends they met, and all the fun they had, and the sweating, and it's just a great time. And the next time they come back, they're not worried about getting on that mat or worried about all the new kids. They run in there, right? We got to slow them down sometimes. Like, hey, settle down. We got to get, and it's awesome. I love to see that. And then I know that it's not just happening in our school. It's happening outside too, because you can talk to the parents about it, and they're like, I don't know what you did, but this kid is changing literally right before my eyes, right? It's not a year's process. It's a weeks and months process that it happens fairly quickly, especially if that kid really, really dedicates himself to what we're doing. It's crazy. And their grades start to get better if they're struggling in school. They're making more friends. I mean, there's so many different aspects that go along with that. They're putting themselves in position to succeed at things that they never before would have even tried. They're challenging themselves to new things because they have confidence. Like, they've learned that even if they fail, they're going to get better, versus not even trying at all, not even have the confidence to make the decision to even start.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's so imperative, it's such a powerful, you made me remember. It's like when they come in, and as soon as their parents allow them, like they let them off the leash, so to speak, they run to that corner, and, they invariably get into trouble, right? Because they're so full of energy, bouncing around in the corner, right? You have to like, hello guys. Right.
Still have class going on.
And it's funny because even when, here we are with brown and red belts and going into black belts, and the little kids are still doing it.
Yep.
Right. That's how excited they are.
Yep.
Yeah.
And for me, it's a tempered response, because I love that enthusiasm. I love that they're excited. Right. So we just have to teach them to be able to control it, because they, like you said, they're ready to go, but we still have a class ahead of them that's trying to finish up. So it's like, it's a catch-22. It's like, I don't want to quell that excitement, but at the same time, we have to control it. So it's awesome to see that. And I love that they can be training with us for 2 to 3 years and still have that desire to want to be there, that they get there, they run, they put their stuff down, and they get excited. Right. And I think that in turn helps us as instructors that help build our confidence too, that we're doing the things that are being beneficial for our students. We have the confidence to know that we're making an impact and that they want to be there with us and that they're not forced to be there because mom and dad told them to.
Amen.
Taekwondo in particular, but martial arts in general, obviously, is physical. And it's a mix of personal growth and not technically, but kind of team growth. Because when you're training with a group of people, and you're all in that class, you're all going for the same thing, which is your next belt rank, right? You're doing it individually on your own, learning your own forms and all that stuff, but you're also working as a team to get to your next rank. So you're all going to be testing together. And I think like when we're working on warm-ups, when we're working on drills, when we're working on technique stuff, they're sure learning the moves themselves, but they're also getting more physically fit. And a big problem I see right now is there isn't enough physical education in school. And that's one of the reasons they come in, they're so fired up and ready to go, is because they haven't burned any energy yet. So we build that that desire for them to want to become more physically fit. Then they have the confidence to know they can do a push-up or a sit-up or burpees or a fit test, or once they get to black belt, a 3-hour workout, right? We slowly build that confidence that they feel like they can physically are capable of doing these things and not just, sit around in class and read and whatever they're doing, which is all great. But if they're not doing any physical activity, they're becoming sedentary, and that's bad. As you get older, you get used to it. It's even harder to become physically active. So building that confidence to know, hey, if I work and do these things, I'm going to get stronger. I'm going to get faster. I'm going to get better. And then my martial arts gets better. I feel better. I sleep better. I eat better. All these other things. They have the confidence to know that they can become more physically active and become better and stronger and healthier.
Yeah, it's I think it's an exciting time. Do you remember when we were talking about school, do you remember the presidential award?
I do.
Whatever happened to it?
I have no idea. When I was a kid, that was a huge deal.
It was a huge deal.
Huge deal. Because I have a quick story about that, as a matter of fact. My best friend, so they had age brackets, right? So whatever age range you fell in, you had to do a certain amount of pull-ups, whatever, all your different numbers. And my buddy is older in our class. He was an early birthday in the year, so he fell in the first range, and we all fell in the other range. So we always had to do like more pull-ups and faster times and all that stuff. It's funny. He still gets mad about that. He's like, it wasn't fair. I always had to do more. That's what happens for being an old man. But yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, it was a big deal because it also taught us respect for the presidency.
Yep. And it was cool. We got this cool certificate and a coin and all kinds of cool stuff, a patch. Like, yeah, I passed the Presidential Fitness Award.
Yeah.
We thought the president was going to come give it to us.
I know. Everybody did, which was fine because that was more of that impetus.
Yep. We gotta prove the president that we're strong, right? But I think on a bigger scale, it was a huge deal because, you look at the health of our nation, right? And if the president is out there leading the pack and say, hey, well, these are the standards we want you guys to be as a physically fit nation, you build confidence in who you are, confidence in that you can do the things you need to do to be a great citizen in your country, right? That's a grand scale type of thing, but that's kind of what I looked at as the idea. Is like, I'm trying to impress the president, right? He set these numbers. I got to get them.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, and I think so. So when we talk about that, right? It's that whole, number 5, physical fitness and strength.
Yep.
And then it goes right into positive reinforcement encouragement, because the president it's a presidential thing.
Yep. The president told me I could do this.
Yeah, and then number 7. I mean, look at how we just fed into this public demonstration and competition. It was a nationwide deal.
Yep. And that's the thing, is like something like that can drive a generation. I mean, all of us, we know all about it. We all did it in school, right? It was part of our gym class, and it's like this huge thing. And then we're competing with each other to do better, right? And when you have that competition, people want to do better than their buddy. Like, I'm going to do better than you, right? And that encourages them to do even more, right? They build that confidence up that they're physically strong. Then they get strong in the head, the confidence in their brain that they can do whatever they want, and it sets the tone for everything else that they do.
Yep.
Just from doing that one little thing, right? From being physically fit and being able to do all those things, your confidence soars, because you're not sitting around doing nothing all day, and then when you get up, you're like, oh, this sucks. I'm gonna go sit down and rest. You just got up, right? So it's just that it's such a huge, not only physical thing, but a mental thing, a mental confidence thing that it's provided to you by working out and having competition and showing off your prowess to your buddies or your friends and seeing how strong you are versus how strong they are. And flexing.
Yeah. So that's I kind of wanted to tie that in, because that takes us through number 7.
Yep.
Now jumping into self-defense training, go for it.
Yes. Well, so I train my students when it comes to the physical. It's about not just being able to protect yourself. It's about having the confidence in the ability to protect yourself, knowing that if something happens, you're able to do what you need to do to get safe and get away. Having confidence in your skills that you've learned that are going to help you to become, less likely to get picked on in the first place. We have a student, I may have told this story already, but we have a student last week that I don't know the whole story. I just know there was some back and forth between some boys, 9-year-old boys, and one of the boys that was going back and forth with my student took offense to something he said, and him and his friends surrounded him and pushed him to the ground and held him down and were trying to kick him and all that stuff. And he told me that everything that we've practiced in class, including our voice, our relaxation, our confidence in what we do, the physical, like if you got kids on top of you, how to get them off of you, all those things came into play in this one scenario. And he was able to defend himself, get this kid jumped on top of him. He's able to get him off of him, and to be able to get up and get away from 4 kids, right? He told me had he not learned what we learned in class, he doesn't know if he'd have been able to do that. No. So he had the confidence in that specific scenario of all the things that we've been working on. All those things came into play for him, all in that one moment. And the confidence to be able to go, okay, what did Mr. Yarwood teach me? How can I do these things? This is exactly what we were working on in class. It all came into play, right? His mom was worried that he was going to get in trouble, right? It eventually all gets kind of panned out. Nobody got in trouble. But he was worried, too, that maybe he was going to get in trouble with me because what he thought he was doing was fighting, right? I had him tell me the story, and I said, as far as I'm concerned, you were defending yourself. You did exactly what you needed to do. And had your teacher or principal reached out to your mom or me, I would have defended you 100%. And that's what I tell my kids. It's like, you're not in it to fight. You're in it to protect yourselves. We don't fight, right? Being able to provide that for him, and it made me feel good that what we're doing, building that confidence in our students to be able to handle a situation like that, makes me want to do it more. Because that he literally used everything that we practiced in class, from the physical on the ground to pushing away to his voice, everything that we talk about, right? And that all came from all the training that he's been doing. And to have it come up in real life for him, I think reinforced that he has the confidence to be able to handle himself in that situation. And it was a huge deal for me too, because it works. Which builds my confidence to know that what I'm doing is important to these kids in their real life, in their real world when they leave the dojo.
Well, and I think, more importantly, for those people that are listening, this is one of the things that you love to do, right? Go to schools and teach kids how.
Yep. I literally go into the schools and teach them all those things.
Yep.
And it's never about fighting. The word fight, if they even say that word, I correct them immediately, because it's not what we do. Fighting is a whole different thing. So it's like I immediately quash that discussion. It's like, oh, I want to fight. No, you're not going to fight. If that's what you're going to do, then you're not going to do this, because that's not what we're about.
Yeah. All right. Next one.
I think this is a good one for you to discuss. Number 9.
Emphasis on personal growth. Yeah, I think both this and moving through this one and then number 10, mental discipline and focus. So emphasis on personal growth. To me, here I am, when I started, I was 59. Now I'm 60. Or should I say restarted. And, people go, well, Les, what are you doing? You're 59, 60 years old. Right. I know that if I could color my eyebrows, color my mustache and goatee, or cut it off, people would not even come close to my age. They just wouldn't. I mean, they look at my skin. I don't have a lot of wrinkles. I'm a little chubby, but they, they see the skin shine and they go, oh, he must be a younger man. Right. And I hear it all the time. So I know that for me, the personal growth and development, not only physically, but mentally, is a big deal. A big deal.
Yeah, it's that personal part that is really important, because knowing, you set a goal for yourself, right? You might not even tell anybody what that goal is. You internalize it, and you take that and you run with it, and you start to see all the benefits of all the things that you're doing. That goal might still be there, but that growth is not only deep, but wide, right? So you're going that whole thing, and all this stuff is happening beyond what your initial, goal was to do. You got in there and say, okay, my goal is to earn a black belt in 4 years. Okay. That's like straight and narrow. But along the way, that goal becomes so much bigger because there's so many other things that are coming along the way for you, right? And you're growing in so many other different areas that you never realized were going to happen. And, starting as an adult, I mean, I didn't start in my 50s, but I started when I was 36. I didn't have the confidence for 6 months to even step foot in the dojo, much less become a black belt, much less become an instructor, much less become a school owner, right? All of those other things came out of that single decision. So my personal growth was huge, right? And I know how impactful that this can be, because it has impacted me directly. And when I can share that with others and they start to see all these other things in their life that are getting better because of the decision they made to come and start training martial arts, it's not just an activity. It becomes part of who you are. And for me, it is who I am, right? It's not just part of it. It is who I am. And my son as well. You know, he's been doing it for 15 years. His entire memory of life is Taekwondo. And he is the person he is today because of all the training that he's gotten through martial arts and all the discipline he's learned and everything, right? That's not to say it's the only thing, but a lot of who he is based in everything that he's done. And that personal growth for him has been a huge thing, right? I can point you to dozens and dozens of people who will tell you the same thing. Their story is similar. They come in and their discipline is better. They're more focused. They have a better attitude about things. They're more confident in what they do, right? They're just, you name it. All these things have been affected in their life, and it just spreads. And then everything else that they do is looked at through those lenses, and the possibilities are endless because they look at it from a different perspective. That confidence that I can do whatever I want to do. I just got to go do it. It's phenomenal to see that, especially in kids. But it's fun to see it in grown-ups too, because we have plenty of adults who have gone on that same journey, and they're like, we can't kick them out of the gym either. They want to stay there too, right? They enjoy it so much because of what they get out of it. They see their kids getting it. They see themselves getting it, and it's a phenomenal thing to witness.
All right. This mental discipline and focus, I think we covered it. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I think we covered it in the very beginning in a big way. Right. So, I think the more that you can connect your brain and your physicality and create a space of health and well-being for both of them, that alignment will make your life better. And I mean, look at how many of our students are doing well in school.
Yep. And their parents are telling us about what they're doing at home.
Yeah.
And kids stepping up doing community service stuff, finding things to do, right? Not being told what to do, finding things to do. I get to see all of those sheets that they turn in and all the things they're doing. They fed the homeless. They helped their neighbor with the yard work. They helped their neighbor take out the trash. They cleaned up their neighborhood. They went to the park and cleaned up. I mean, it's crazy. It's awesome because they're looking for things to make them better and to make their communities better and their world better. And that's a direct response to the things that they're doing at the school. They're taking that and making it their own and coming up with all these other things that I wouldn't even have thought of, right? They're so creative in how they want to do all this stuff because their confidence has grown and like, all right, what else can I do? As opposed to shying away from new experiences.
I love it. Anything else we want to cover before we wrap up for today?
No, I think it was a pretty good discussion today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I like this last statement. In martial arts, confidence is earned gradually through experience, overcoming obstacles, and personal growth, making it a deeply ingrained and authentic quality of training and development.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, with that, I'm going to bid everybody have a blessed afternoon and a great weekend.
And see you on the mats.
See you on the mats.